Microsoft is now making AI generated games. And guess what? It's open source and it's available for us to use. They said they're introducing Muse, their first generative AI model designed for gameplay ideation. So basically this gameplay ideation tool they're using called Muse is able to generate gameplay. And so this is a good way to go ahead and I guess prototype the type of game that you want to make. So instead of it making full-blown games, it makes gameplays. So if you ever went to like E3 or any of these expos that have gameplay announcements, especially like with the new Call of Duties that come out every year now, you see that there's always a demo of somebody playing the game, walking through the game and showing you how it's done. Muse could do something like that, but from scratch. So it doesn't even have to be a full-blown game. It can just be an idea of a game. So instead of demoing to, let's say, the people who are going to purchase the game, you could demo it to, well, the people who are going to invest in making the game possible. So it can help with the visuals and conveying your story to maybe get funding or maybe to see what kind of direction you really want to take it in. Because if you ever use image generations, sometimes when you get images back, they're not 100% like the idea you have in your mind. When you make an image, you're not like, oh, this is gonna come out and it's gonna come out exactly how you want it. But sometimes it comes out maybe different, but different's not always bad. Or it comes out with an example of what you want, and you can tweak it from there. And so this may take you from 0 to say 60, 70% for the ideation. Instead of having storyboard and start having to go into Blender and rapidly prototype these characters, you can just, well, have the environment already generated, the gameplay and the mechanics already generated with this by itself. And as you've seen these clips, they're pretty decently well made. And so how they say they did this is they will generate a game, and they said they use 10 initial frames plus 1 second of human gameplay in the controller actions of how a person was moving or using the character to capture the gameplay mechanics. They said they used this Xbox game called Bleeding Edge to, well, create this. If you want to compare this to Google's, well, video generator that they use to make games, you can check that video out here because I did one earlier about theirs, and theirs are pretty awesome as well. We talked about the data scaling and how it's pretty consistent even at less data times. So this is a video of an actual person playing the game, so you can see how a real human would play the game. Then you see with 10K training updates, and it's like, it's okay. You see that the character is recognizable and the basic movements and geometry is there, but it's not all the way like fluid. But with 100K training updates, you see that there's no degradation over time. So you see that it's actually really fluid gameplay, but 1 million training updates, you see that it's also correct interaction with PowerCell. Models fly mechanic is done correctly. And that's the criteria that they were using in order to judge how well it does versus the original gameplay. And also they have this interactive studio. It almost looks like a video editor where you would go in and send your screenshots in order for it to make the demo. They also have like evaluation metrics. The metrics are consistency, diversity, and persistence. So basically, they see how consistent the gameplay is the person using the right type of imagery? Is this person walking and then making sure they keep walking if you go forward instead of they start walking and they turn to a skateboard, they turn into a car? Especially if that's not part of the mechanics, it just happens randomly. Also the diversity, to see the variants that can be created from the images, so it doesn't have to follow the input images one-to-one. Also, they said persistency is one of them too. So giving the game mechanics, how well is it able to incorporate that into the game demo? All in all, this is pretty cool. And the fact that they're open source is pretty good too. But I think what they're going for is making sure that this is all on top of their, I think, Azure platform. So they're going to be making money through their freaking cloud infrastructure. That's what you'll be using to use Muse. And some people are saying, why would I use Muse instead of just playing the game? Because even if I can generate the game demo, it's better for it to be interactive. I think if you ever played a game and playing a game versus playing it, there are two different modalities there. Playing a game and then playing it is two different things, because when you play a game, let's say you're playing like a Call of Duty game or a shooter or even like a side scroller, knowing how that game feels when you're pressing a button, how that game feels when you're turning left to right versus seeing it, it's a totally different story. Because let's say you want to have a game where it's like fast-paced motion. How you control that fast-paced motion on a controller could feel different, or maybe it feels a little bit more sluggish than it really is in the real game. So even having something like a generator to generate the demo could be hard because, well, it may not really be able to be something you can create, and it may convey the wrong message to the people that you're demoing to. And it could just be easier or maybe more efficient, better for your end goal to get funding or to get a project off the ground if you can just generate a level, a scene, just somewhere where like you have a one character, maybe in a house, maybe there's a contained space, and just letting somebody play that so they can see how fun that is. Maybe one enemy, maybe one bad guy, so you can see how it could play out. But Muse is, I guess, in a different direction, more so on the demoing end. So it's rapid prototyping, which is okay. But for me, this doesn't seem like something you would want to use right now unless you're like strapped for cash. But even if you're strapped for cash, you still have to pay for the Muse and having it use their cloud infrastructure to run this all. So it's still an investment. It's not like it's free, it's open source. So we'll see. If you want me to look more into this and maybe try to create a demo of my own using some type of AI asset that I created, you can definitely comment down live demo, and I may think about doing that. We could do a live demo of a video game demo and see how that comes out. If you want to keep up with the latest and greatest AI news, you should definitely like and subscribe. With that being said, your boy Dex9Dexter out.